Hi, my name is Dr. Kevin Gazzara with Magna Leadership Solutions, and we're so glad that you're here to join us for this series of tips from our organization.
Hi, and I'm Tim Galusha. Glad to be here with you. Can't wait to share a few of these things we've learned over a lifetime of learning. Okay, we're here to talk to you today about the iMessage. And the iMessage is a wonderful tool when you have to have that tough conversation. And typically, they haven't been working very well. And they haven't been working very well because you start off with interpretive. So the iMessage gives you the opportunity to explain what's going on for you in a way that creates a cognitive conversation that's focused on solving a problem rather than an interpretive conversation that tends to be judgmental.
And one of the things, Tim, in one of our earlier videos is that we talked about observation without interpretation. And the iMessage really fits in very, very closely with how you deliver the iMessage and things to remember. So it's building upon. This is not a replacement to.
Right, you really have to understand observation without interpretation in order to be effective at delivering the iMessage. And the iMessage sounds very simple, but it's deceptively difficult to deliver in a powerful way. But once you master it, suddenly all those conversations that went nowhere now give you the opportunity to have conversations that go somewhere and solve real problems.
Yeah, and I think some of the viewers may not even be familiar with what the original iMessage was. So what would an iMessage sound like?
So the original iMessage focused on three aspects. It was the situation, the behavior, and the impact. So when my employee comes in late, right, then things don't start on time and it concerns me.
Okay.
And so that was the situation, the behavior, and the impact. And what we found was just a slight modification was rather than focus on the specific person, Kevin, when you come in late,
yeah,
right? Rather when we don't start on time,
right?
Right. So now
it's not about me.
It's not about you. It's when we don't start on time. It concerns me. We're not ready to meet our customers coming in the door, and that could impact our profitability. And so now just that slight twist has allowed us to have a conversation that's focused on a problem rather than judging a behavior.
Yeah, and the typical iMessage was always when you, I feel, because. That was the traditional approach. And the challenge with that is it was really pointed, right? It was when you rather than the task. It's I feel, so you can use the I feel piece of that. However, it's usually more impactful than that. It's more about the team or the organization. And then you add the because, and if it's just because maybe your anger or whatever, rather than the impact to the organization, the results, it really comes off very, very negative to the other person. And you've really defeated the whole purpose of what the intent of the iMessage was. So this approach that you're talking about really seems like it'd be much better.
You know, Kevin, you're spot on. And when you start the message by saying, when you come in late, you've really defeated the purpose, because already you feel judged, and now you're going to get defensive, and you have the reasons why. And so rather than focusing on what the real issue is, we're already focused on responding to the judgment.
Yeah. And I think the one thing that I hear you say, Tim, is it's really not being about soft on the other person, and you're not trying to sugarcoat anything. The key is to get it to be focused upon the results or the impact, and talk about the task that's being missed as opposed to the individual's behavior. They can make that association. The more that you've put the burden on them as a person and their behaviors, the less likely that they're going to really help out to be a solution. So you need, as a leader or a manager, you need to make that connection for them.
Yeah, and I'll just add on one observation, which is in today's world with millennials, oftentimes their behaviors are a little different. If as leaders we focus on their results rather than their activities, we may find that while their behaviors are a little different than ours, their results are just what we needed. And so we should be praising the results rather than criticizing the behaviors or activities.
So what would you recommend to the viewers for this week?
I would try to actually work on an I message. Find a situation where you want to have a conversation, and rather than starting with an accusation or an interpretation, really start by thinking about what is the situation, what is the behavior, what is the impact, and how can I deliver that in a way that doesn't start off with when you're late.
And I always like to close my I messages with an opportunity for the other person to provide input so that I can understand if they really heard the message with the intent that I had. So rather than doing just an open-ended question or rather than doing a closed-ended question or an open-ended question, I like to say to use open-ended requests. So at the end, after I deliver the hard message, I would say to them, what are the one or two things that we could do together as a staff or that could be done in general to be able to get us these kind of impacts or results that we're all interested in.
That's a great point, Kevin, because without that closing request, essentially the person hears what your issue was and goes, well, I guess that's your issue.
Yeah.
Right? And so you simply have to close with what are one or two things that we can do to make sure employees arrive on time, that we get the quality that we need. Whatever the issue was, it's what are one or two of those two things. And then as a leader, don't be impatient. Let time and silence be on your side. The person knows that you're asking that question. Right? And so they may well have a great suggestion. Give them that opportunity to process the question and respond.
Thanks for watching the video. One of the things that we like to do is really help others be successful using the servant leadership model. And both Tim and I have been practitioners in industry for over 30 years. We'd like to share some of the tips and tricks to help you get to that next level of leadership with your organization so that you can be kind of recognized at the level of your full potential. And if that makes sense, please contact us at magnaleadership.com or click the link in this video, and you can set up time for a discussion with us. We would love to help you. Absolutely no sales pitch. We're here to help you be more successful.